From downtown Scranton, this is Northeast Current. WQPX invites you to join us as we explore public affairs, current events, and arts and culture in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Now, let's meet today's guests on Northeast Current.
Welcome to Northeast Current. I'm your host today, Bernie Mayapolsky, and I bet a lot of our viewers out there are transitioning their teens or have experience with transitioning their teens into driving. But today, we're here with Jessica Blomain to talk about transitioning our seniors into maybe not driving anymore. So today we're here with Jessica Blomain from Home Instead Senior Care that serves Scranton and Northeast Pennsylvania. She's going to talk to us today about that very fact of having a conversation with your loved ones about maybe not driving.
That's right. So Home Instead, part of what we do is help keep seniors independent at home.
Okay.
And what's more representative of independence than driving? So for seniors, that process of either reducing driving or stopping driving can be a scary one.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard to talk about it. I know
Yes.
I know my father had to tell his father, you know, years ago he had to be the bad guy, he said, and and then even my mom, he had to tell my poor father had to tell everybody. Maybe someday I'll have to tell my father.
You probably will.
I don't know. He's probably, my father's something else. His mom, she didn't stop driving until her 90s, and she's still 100. She's still good, except for the driving.
Right. And some seniors will drive into their very late years.
Okay.
And as long as they're able to do so safely,
then it's fine.
let them go. Sure.
So how do you know that they're able to do it safely?
Well, there's things you want to look for. So if you notice mysterious dents, of course,
right.
on the car or maybe in the garage, if you notice that your loved one is having a hard time maneuvering by, being able to look into rear view mirrors, or if they're not able to turn around to check behind them,
Okay.
that's an indication that maybe driving isn't as safe as it once was.
Right. And then, so I think you guys have a website, right, to help
do.
to help the conversation?
Mm-hmm. So we set up a special website surrounding this topic. It's called letstalkaboutdriving.com.
Okay.
And on the website, there are numerous resources to help families put together a plan in how to best approach this conversation with their aging loved one.
That's interesting. So what's
Yes.
sort of the plan? What would the plan be? Let's just say my father, who works still, he works from home, he's 71.
So what you want to look at is how often is he driving? Is he currently experiencing any difficulties with that driving? And are there any medical conditions that might be something, whether it's currently happening or maybe in the future will progress to it, complications that will make driving difficult for him?
Okay, yeah. He can't drive. I know he doesn't drive at night.
Mm-hmm.
Is that common to a lot of seniors?
It is. That's a common way to reduce driving, is to stop driving when you're not comfortable driving. And for a lot of seniors, driving at night is a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Just as well, driving in inclement weather is
Right.
also another challenge.
And that's challenging for anybody, really.
Right.
The seniors look for certain kinds of cars, and they're changing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they always seem like they have their car for a long time. They take such good care of it, too. But I mean, there's, some of them like to have the here, then, I imagine, how about the rear view camera? Would that be a helpful thing for seniors?
It actually is. So part of the Let's Talk About Driving program is focused on what technologies are out there that can help seniors stay on the road. So this isn't necessarily about taking senior drivers off the road. It's what is out there right now to help them stay safely on the road.
Okay.
And what can we look at to make that roadmap to, if there is a time where it's going to become inevitable that they can't safely drive, let's have that conversation sooner rather than later.
Right.
So that it's a discussion that's a two-way conversation. It's not a, we're taking the keys and that's
Right,
it.
it's just so shocking.
Right. So it's something that's planned out.
That makes sense. What are some of the tech, I guess, like the rear view camera, that's one?
Yes. So some of the technologies would include those new cameras or the rear view detections that will show seniors if there's something behind them or if there's something on either side.
Okay.
There's blind spot indicators, so that as the senior is driving, there'd be a little warning signal to let a senior know that there's something on either side of them or in front of them. Some of the other assistive technologies would include special headlights that are at a special angle and certain brightness to help them see better at night and in inclement weather. We have different tools that they can look at as far as even just making sure they are actually in the car safely, making sure they're not too close to the steering wheel, making sure that their mirrors are properly adjusted for them, and all of those can help keep a senior safely on the road.
That's really good information. I think it's all on the website.
It is. So there's special sections on the website. One area is specifically dedicated to those special technologies. There are conversation starters. There are myths about, the driving cessation. So it's not always a bad thing to give up driving. Some seniors will actually find that it's actually really liberating because they're not having to pay car insurance. They're not having to pay for the maintenance and repairs of a car. So they can actually save money.
If I didn't have to drive, a lot of times I wouldn't mind being driven around.
Right.
And now with Uber, I don't know if at least seniors aren't texting and driving, most of them anyway, I would think.
Not.
Which nobody should text and drive, right? I mean, some of the younger people may be less safe. I'm sure, they'll take care of it. I guess a lot of people text though. My father texts. Dad, you better not be texting and driving out there. It's on the list.
No good.
So, but just give me an example of a conversation starter,
So an example would be in the situation where maybe somebody does have a medical condition that, if not at the present time, in the future might lead to complications with their safe driving. So a conversation to have is just, Dad, I know you're having problems with your eyesight, and your eye doctor has told you, that over the course of, the next year or so you might have to have surgery, or you might, require stronger glasses. And let's talk about this, Dad, in relation to driving. And we want to keep you safe. We love you. How do you feel about that? Homestead's actually done a bunch of research on this topic, and we found that 95% of seniors have not even had the conversation with their loved one. Nobody's talking about it.
Sure, it's uncomfortable to say, you think.
It's uncomfortable. So nobody's talking about it, but for the seniors who have talked about it, almost all of them say it was a pleasant conversation. It was agreeable. So it wasn't the, angry parents coming down on their adult children. It was a really agreeable conversation, and it went well.
And I think that's the thing, like you said, you're taking about before. You just take the keys. It's like anybody. You would just come in and say, okay, we're leaving right now. People want to say, well, we're leaving in 10 minutes. Or, you might have to take your car away in a couple years. All right, you get the thought in your head, besides just, like you said, or waiting until they're so bad that they hurt somebody or they hurt themselves. And then you just take the keys, and then you have a real problem.
Exactly.
I imagine, though, it still is hard sometimes, if they're starting to experience dementia and they don't agree, they don't believe, or maybe they don't even remember that they're not supposed to do that. I guess that's something.
Yeah, a disease like Alzheimer's or dementia can really complicate the matter, especially with the issue of short-term memory loss. They just might not understand, the very next day as to what's going on with no longer
they just smashed the car or something,
So that's a very sensitive subject. But again, it's also one to have that conversation. As soon as you know your loved one is diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia, have the conversation about how to reduce or eliminate driving down the road. As best as you can, I guess, at that stage.
So I could see that. And so that's what you guys do at home instead, is so that people don't have to leave, they stay at home. And so even if they can't drive anymore, that's something that you could come in and help them do their shopping, their groceries, and things like that, right? Well, keep them company, house cleaning, things like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds good too.
And so through this program, we really are encouraging families to be proactive rather than reactive. And it's all about educating yourselves, educating your aging loved ones on the very sensitive subject of let's talk about driving. But again, that conversation, the earlier it's had, the easier it's going to be to make that transition down the road.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, Jessica, thank you so much. I think that was a lot of great information for our viewers. And the website again is Tell us the website again.
letstalkaboutdriving.com.
Right, letstalkaboutdriving.com. So definitely check that website out and start the conversation with your senior loved ones. And we'll be right back after these messages. So check out the website while we're doing these commercials.